Hey yo, Stoic here. Hey, welcome to the Bedrock Guide. In this tutorial, we're going to be making 7 starter farms. Well, you can use them anytime you want to help get you the materials you want in your game. Some of them are passive, some of them use bone meal, but yeah, this is great. All right, to get started, we're going to be looking at an AFK Fish Farm. You've seen this one everywhere. I think this one's really great. I've been using it in my SMP recently, and it's really awesome to start your world off with, especially when you don't have a good fishing rod, like this one right here. This one is terrible. It's terrible. Anyways, this one is relatively cheap as far as the components that you need, and what you'll end up getting after you upgrade your fishing rod, or maybe even get the God one, where it's all maxed out with Lure 3 and Luck of the Sea 3 and Mending, is this is all the loot you can get. This is super overpowered. In my opinion, it is just fantastic to start off with. But yeah, these are all the amazing things that you can get, especially you can get Mending 1 books, which is absolutely necessary for your starter world. Also, when you, depending on where you're at in your world, you might be getting bamboo and cocoa beans if you're in a jungle, but if you're everywhere else, you're probably going to get puffer fish or tropical fish as a part of your world. So make sure you know exactly what biome you're in. All right, so let's go ahead and build this thing. So we've got 2 chests right there with a hopper on top of that. Grab your rail, put it on top of that with a minecart with hopper on top of that. Come down here and we can break the rail. That's pretty important to do. Go ahead and build this up. We don't want this thing like rolling around or getting out of place, so we can trap it in here pretty easily. You can use trapdoors if you want. I'm just going to use a solid block for right now because trapdoors can be a little silly when we're building this. So we've got this in place. Let's build this up by 2. 1. Keep that one open. 2. And we can grab our sign now and we can look down at the block that's right next to our minecart with hopper. Put this in. Now there used to be a rail in occupying that block. Minecarts with hoppers are entities. The rail was a block, we got rid of it. The sign is a block, so we got that in its place now. So that sign is actually going to keep the lava from destroying our minecart with hopper, which is pretty sweet. So now what we can do is grab our chest and put in another sign right in front of it. I'm going to go all the way around this chest now. We're going to bump it out by 1. This is going to be temporary right here. Can break that now and come on to this side, kind of this upside down U or N or however you're looking at it. Let's go ahead and grab a bucket of water. Throw it in here, throw it in. We're going to throw it in on here, so here and here. But if you've got your fish, make sure you got a fish. This is why we got it here. This fish gives us those enchanted books, all of the enchanted loot that we're looking for long term. So make sure you get yourself a fish. I've never had to name my fish, but you can if you want to. But let's see here. The next thing we want to do is go fishing. So what I want to do is get a fresh fishing rod. I don't want that one down there because it's been used in my testing. But let's extend this out by 1. I found that that actually works just fine. And I'm going to throw in my fishing rod. So after I go into survival, I'm going to throw it at the sign. We're fishing. We're fishing. It's going to take a lot longer because we don't have Lure or Luck of the Sea 3. Well, Lure is the one that makes it shorter. And you can see that I gained XP, which means I actually did go fishing just now. And you can see that the fishing rod itself is not losing any of its durability, which is pretty awesome, especially early game. I haven't fished that really awesome fishing rod yet, so this is going to be one key item. And now all you need is time. If you've got the time just to sit here and click, watch TV while you're doing it. But you can also get an auto clicker to make sure that you're getting all the loot that you really want. And here, we're already getting some pretty cool stuff. But yeah, let's move on to the next one. All right, this next one is a pumpkin or melon farm. I got a little inspiration from my buddy EyecraftMC. And he made a similar one, but I don't know. Mine seems to be a little bit simpler. That's what I think anyways. So this one can house melons or pumpkins, and this is very passive. You can bone meal up the stems, but that's it. You can't bone meal anything else. And you can see I've got a pumpkin floating right there. I'm going to put this minecart rolling, and it picks it up and sends it down into our chest down here. And yeah, this is pretty simple. all it's doing is watching for the stem to turn over into a melon or a pumpkin. That's what we're having our observers here. It'll send a signal into this line of redstone, and then it will push these pistons down, forcing the pumpkins and melons to break and then float, and then our minecart picks it up, throws it down here so that we can just go AFK for a long time. You don't really need a whole lot of pumpkins and melons. Melons are nice for potions. Pumpkins are nice for food and some decoration, especially this in the fall time. But anyways, let's go ahead and build this thing. All right, so we're going to get right into this, and we're going to build this up. We got to get some hoppers right on top here, and then we can just build a nice little circle all the way around. Circle, square, circle, yep. Whatever you want to call it. I like to put a powered rail on the back side here. We can power that on, so when we're ready for our minecart, it will be ready to go. We can just go all the way around just like this. This is our collection system. Come up with a block right here. And then we can build out some of our redstone really quick because it's easier if we don't have the dirt in the way. So let's go ahead and grab our observers and our pistons just like this. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and you got to come up to the top. Make sure that your pistons or your observers are looking down. So you want to be on top when you're placing them. So you can put them in like this Z orientation, and then we're going to fill in these last positions with our pistons. So we can come in just like this on this side and over here like that. Now the way I've got it lined up is we're just going to fill this part in with dirt, break those two right there, is so that when we plant them in these two positions and those two positions, the melons and pumpkins will always have an opportunity to grow. There's not going to be another pumpkin or melon in the only spot available for it. So this will work out for us. So let's see here. Let's grab a tool here. Grab our gardening hoe, and we'll throw down underneath our observer. We're going to clear those out, and we're going to come over here to this one over here as well. Let's grab a bucket of water. And let's grab some seeds. We're going to grab our pumpkin seeds and our melon seeds. Throw down our water so our land doesn't change on us. Put 2 melons over here, and then we'll put 2 pumpkins over here. And just like that, we've got our farm built. And we can just throw this on here. All right, make it move. All you have to do is just run next to it. Of course, I got the perfect spot not to do it. And there we go. And what you can do is you can just fill the sides in. You can use trapdoors in this case. Make sure you do this because things will pop out. But this isn't that difficult. So we do that. Come over to the top. Break this block because we want to make sure we got light coming in. And then we'll just extend our redstone all the way around. Let's grab some bone meal as an example, and you can see every time that this stem changes state, our observers will observe that, and the pistons will go down. See, I can't bone meal it anymore, even though there's sparkles. That's from previous ones. I can't bone meal it anymore, so we just have to wait for it to grow at this point. So this is a very passive farm. But yeah, melon and pumpkin farm. All right, so now we got our cactus farm right here, and this is a very passive farm. You cannot bone meal cactus to make it grow any faster. And yeah, so the more you have set up just like this, the more you will get. But the premise here is that a cactus will grow, and because if there's anything next to the cactus, it pops off, goes down into our water stream, and then plops into our hopper right here. You can see I collected a couple things. But if you want a whole lot of cactus, you just make this array bigger, bigger, bigger. But yeah, let's go into how you build it. All right, so let's go ahead and get our chests in place. We're going to make this 1, 2, and then 3, just like this. Put your last hopper into the side here, and then we're going to extend this out by 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because that is the size of our water stream. And so we're just going to extend this over. So we got a nice water stream all the way across. And like it's this one is this is very passive. Almost all cactus farms are just like this as far as having to wait for the goodies. We're going to need a solid block. You can probably use something else other than a solid block to maybe dress things up a little bit. But let's build that up, make sure our water stream can get all the way across, and let's throw that in. 1, 2, 3, just like that. All the way down, grab some sand for our cactus, and we'll put cactus in here so it can start to grow a little bit. You can probably want to build the walls up all the way. In the example I showed earlier, it was not built up all the way, just so, so you can see it a little bit better. But anyways, you can see that we can just build that up to contain everything. Sometimes they'll just pop off and maybe land on top. But at this point, we want to come across one block higher than the rest of these cactuses. And because this one is being controlled by that, we can come over and skip some of this, save a little bit of resources. But this farm is done. It's ready to start producing for you in your area. So yeah, here's your cactus farm. All right, these next 4 will require bone meal in order to work. If you're like me, I'm tired of having to store a whole bunch of stuff all the time and with big sorting systems. So I only want to take what I need at any given time. I don't want to have to store a whole bunch of stuff all the time. A lot of this game is just resource management, and I don't want to hold any inventory. So in this case, we've got a observer clock to a dispenser, throwing it onto cocoa beans. So this is our cocoa bean farm. You break it, you throw down another, you break in place, and we'll turn that off, and you can see we're collecting some. I'm in creative. There's nothing going in there right now, but it will drop in, and you can put a little bit of a guard on one side of it, but you'll need access to this jungle log back here. So let's go ahead and make this farm. All right, so let's drop in these 2 things right here. You're starting to see a theme here, which I think is great. We're going to come over just like this. We can put our jungle log just like that if we want to. And we can come over right here, and that's just to help block some of what we're working on. Place in a dispenser, and this, we're going to have to come down a little bit here on the side. Maybe we can make this wiggle in just like this. Make sure that the opening is down. We want to shoot this bone meal down in here. And I think the last thing we got to do is just place in our observers. So jump up 1, 2, just like that. Come back down, look underneath, find that face. Now we have an observer clock going. You can hear this thing's already working. To turn this thing off, we just throw a lever right there. Throw in some bone meal in our dispenser, and you are ready to go. We'll just jump up, maybe stay even with this platform, maybe a little bit easier. Let's do some survival mode, jumping in here, find our cocoa beans, and I'm going to run out really quick because I only have 1. Oh, no. So we can put that on there. It'll start growing it. We'll break it. It makes its way down in here. We'll grab a couple more. Break that. Break that. And you can see that we're collecting a whole bunch here. It sounds like the bone meal's being used a whole bunch, but it's really not. It's only spraying on it when it can. So place, destroy, place, destroy. And that way I don't have to store a whole bunch of it. I only get what I need, especially when I don't want to have big sorting farms. So let's move on to the next one. Okay, this next one is bamboo or sugarcane. One of those 2 will work in this farm. And like I said, I'm only going to use this because I don't want to store a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm only going to take what I need. But you turn this clock on over here, you can see we've got sugarcane going nuts here. It's going to get collected and it's going to get stored down here. So this is nice. So let's go ahead and build this thing. All right, let's build this. So let's get 2 of our chests in place. We're going to grab a hopper, put it on top, grab a rail, minecart with hopper. In this case, you can keep the hopper where it's at, or the rail where it's at. But we're going to still enclose it because I really don't like bumping this thing. And so the next thing we're going to do is put a piece of grass or mud or whatever you want right here. There's a lot of different options for your sugarcane or bamboo. But we're going to need water here if we're going to do sugarcane, so put that on that spot. Build that up by 1 temporary block. In fact, it can, it can stay there if you want. Grab this dispenser, make sure it's shooting right there. We're going to build this up by 2, and then we're going to grab our piston because our piston's going to chop off the second height of this device. The next thing we want to do is come down here and put another block in that position. Now we're going to put in our clock. See, we're almost done here. This is fantastic. Throw in some redstone right here. Throw in this block. This block is going to energize that redstone, which would energize that dispenser, and this block also energizes this piston. What we can do now is come on top of this block. We're going to put our clock in, so 1, 2, and then we'll come down below, and you might need to get a little right there. You can hear everything's working. Piston's moving, dispenser's clicking. Throw in our lever. It'll keep everything from going anywhere. So we can come up, build this up. A couple of them, just like this. This just contain all the chaos that will ensue once you get this thing on here. And yeah, this is pretty basic farm. Throw that on, and let's see. Let's grab our bone meal. Let's grab some bamboo. And we'll enclose this thing. Just like that. Throw in our bone meal. We start making some bamboo. It's a little crazy. All right, this next one is the kelp. It's pretty much the same thing as we've got going on there, except kelp likes to float up. So we're going to try to get a water stream in here to capture it. So let's go ahead and turn this thing on. We got the clock, dispenser, piston, everything's working. Everything flows over in this direction. So let's go ahead and make this farm. For this one, we're going to find a spot for our kelp. Go ahead and throw a piece of grass or dirt down just like that. And then we'll put a piece of ice right next to it. We're going to need a spot for our hopper. So go ahead and throw down a chest and then a hopper going into this side of the chest. From here, we need to put in our dispenser. Our dispenser is going to be looking at where our kelp is going to be. And then we can come up just like this. Find your piston once again. And we should be pretty close to done. Yep, we're going to throw that on there. We can come over here just a little bit. I should be using some glass there, but it doesn't matter. You need to see in on all sides. Throw a button right there once you get past the ice right over top of the hopper, because we want to contain our water. And you can see now that we can throw in a bucket of water right here. Let's grab it, throw it down. And we've got our water stream. Our water stream is going to push everything towards this hopper just like that. And similarly to our other farm, we're going to throw in some redstone right there. Grab our solid block, put it right there. And here comes our server clock. Come on top. Just like that. Come back down. Look up that direction. Got our clock working. Everything's working now. We can turn that off. In fact, let's just build this up. Let's contain all of the goodies that will be coming out of here. We got that clock that makes things hard to click on. And yeah, we are close to done. Grab that bucket of water. Let's make sure put some water over top of it. Grab some kelp. Let's type this in, kelp, and we should be good. Throw it in there just like that. Let's find some bone meal as well. Drop it in our dispenser. Turn this thing on. Got our kelp flying everywhere. Blowing where we want it to. So we're collecting all the things that we need. Okay, sea pickle time. Yep. You know it. You need it. You want it. You have to have it. Here's a small, tiny little sea pickle farm. And we're going to be using bone meal on this as well. But you can see we've got a little collection system underneath here. Let's turn this thing on. Start moving. And we can just get our observer clock going. You can see the sea pickles growing, getting smashed down into our minecart, which will be filling up our chest down here. And this is really nice because I don't like swimming in the ocean to find these things. So this is going to work out great for us. Let's build it. All right, drop 2 chests down. We're going to put in our 2 hoppers just like this. And I know what you're thinking. You know exactly what's going to happen. But this time we're not going to put our rails in just yet. So bring some temporary blocks up right here. And then we're going to go up by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Break all of the ones underneath that top one. And grab your dispenser. Put it underneath. I'm going to break the one on top of that, throw down another temporary block right there, and then grab your pistons. I got it right there. And then we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Leave the one in front open because we're going to need to get to it a little bit later. Throw a temporary block right next to that dispenser because we'll use that in a little bit once we enclose everything that we need to. From here, we can bring this up by 1, 2, and then come all the way around with a nice big 3x3 square. This is our nice platform. And from here, we just fill that in, or break that middle one, grab your bucket of water, because now we're going to get ready to put in some of our coral, and we're going to need to have coral nearby. So throw these in quickly. We didn't put the rails in because water will destroy the rails or bump them off. But we're going to need water next to our coral in order for this to work. Now, here's one of the tricky parts now is, let's go ahead and grab a temporary block, throw that in on the side there. We're going to need to put, oops, that doesn't work. Let's go ahead and throw this on top of the water. This is still touching water, which is great. Grab your sea pickle now, just need one. Throw it in here. It's okay if it's out of the water, it just won't light up. Throw some water in here. This is going to spill everywhere. If you're quick, you can make this thing work fast. But we want to make sure there's water inside there. Come down, look up at our temporary block we left there earlier. That will enclose our sea pickle. Break the temporary block, And now what we can do is come around. Let me grab some glass. And just in case, this part right here, all the way around. Don't want to be losing any of our hard-earned sea pickles. And from here, we're going to want to put in water. So you put water in on each of these positions so it fills up, making sure we can get a nice spot for our sea pickles. And this thing's almost ready to go. Let's grab. Okay, so we're close to done. We just need to get our clock in place. So we got to make sure we've got a solid block right next to our piston. This is going to help energize our system. Come down here, and we're going to put in our observer clock. So the bottom one is just like that. Come up on top here and get as close as you can. And now we've got our piston working right here. If we put in some redstone, this should flash. If we come all the way across, dispenser's working. We're going to put our redstone all the way across. So now all of our stuff is working. If we want to turn this thing off, just grab your lever, throw it on the solid blue block that we've got up high. That'll keep the pistons and dispenser from clicking. And now we got to come back to the rail. Yep. Didn't want to forget about it. Come to this side. We're going to throw in our rail away from our clock because we don't want that to turn on and off when we don't want it to. When we get to these hoppers, shift click, get this thing on there. And then throw a lever on here, right there. Turn on your powered rail, and this thing is ready to go, just like that. We've got a sea pickle inside here. You can kind of see it right there. But let's grab some bone meal, throw it in our dispenser, and we can turn this thing on. Start getting our sea pickles. You can see them jumping up, getting collected in this chest. All right, thanks for joining me on the Bedrock Guide. I hope you find these small little farms useful in your world. And if you like what you saw, hit that subscribe button so you can get the new content when it comes out. Bye-bye.